Hello. Right, so the other day I uploaded two pictures. One was from 2012 and the other one was taken the other day, and it's really just to show how my hair has changed over the last couple of years. The reason it's changed is because I've been taking some tablets and using a lot of other sort of medical treatments to stop my hair potentially falling out. So I'm just going to do a little video on that and just talk about what I take and what also causes hair loss. Okay, so you're actually seeing my hair in the morning. So I've only been up for the last sort of half hour. So this is my hair at its worst. And I'm also in a hotel with air conditioning, which always makes my throat extremely raw in the morning, but hopefully you can still hear me. Right, so hair loss, it affects about 8 million men in the UK alone, and it also affects women as well, with 40% of men starting to experience hair loss before the age of 35, so it's a big deal for young men, because obviously it affects your confidence, all sorts of things, especially for people like me who are actors. Losing your hair is quite a bad stage of growing up. But there are things you can do. Now, with hair loss, it's caused by DHT, which is, I'm going to try and pronounce this properly. It is dihydrotestosterone. There you go, got it in one. Dihydrotestosterone is a byproduct from testosterone, and it builds up in your scalp along with other enzymes, and what it actually does is it shortens the hair follicles and deteriorates them until they actually fall out, and that's what actually causes hair loss. Now, what you'll notice when you look at someone with hair loss is it starts with at the front here, which is known as the devil's crown, and then once it's affected this part of the hair, it then affects the very frontal bit, and then slowly, and you also notice at the very top of the hair as well, and then slowly it builds back, and that's what causes male pattern baldness, which is all caused by DHT. You'll notice when you'll see this that the sides all the way around here and at the back, the side over here, the hair remains. Now, scientists don't actually know what has caused that, but for some reason DHT doesn't affect these parts of your hair, which is very important when it comes to hair transplants, which I'll talk about a bit later on in the video. So obviously with the build-up of DHT, it causes the shrinking of your hair follicles. So there are ways to treat that. I'll upload the picture that I took from 2012, and you'll notice that the hair at the front is very dry, very thin, and that is caused by the DHT. So to combat that, your first bet is to try one of these tablets. Okay, it's called Propecia, spelled like that, P-R-O-P-E-C-I-A, and you can get this at your pharmacy. And I'll show you what the tablet looks like. It's a small little tablet like that, which is great because for people like me who have problem swallowing a paracetamol tablet and it takes 10 minutes of it soaking in my mouth to actually swallow it, one of these, it's nice and small. So you take one of these a day. The cost of them, I usually buy them in 3-month bulk. So for that, they used to be, I believe, £90. When I went to pick them up the other day, for 3 months, it was £98 because of inflation, everything happening in the world today. So it's expensive, but for just over £1 a day, it's worth it. And it makes me feel better about my hair, and you're actually doing something. So with that tablet, it will remove the DHT from your scalp pretty much, and will just thicken your hair overall. And you'll notice, I mean, my hair feels so much thicker on top, and all of my hair just feels better conditioned. So that's your option. With that as well, I'd also recommend what's called Regaine. You're supposed to use it twice a day. I usually only use it when I go to bed at night, and you just spray it on the affected area, rub it in. What Regaine does, apparently it helps stop and even reverse hair loss, and it increases the blood supply to your hair roots. So that's what that does. The other thing to use, what I recommend, is a good caffeine shampoo. I use this one, C1, reduces hair loss and it stimulates hair growth. Put it in your hair for 2 minutes, leave it on there, wash it out. Make sure you use a good conditioner with that as well. Also, like me, I dry my hair with a hairdryer and I straighten it, so use a good anti-frizz heat protection as well. I should have done beauty. I should have studied it at college. So those are the main products I use. With the Regaine, you just go to Boots, you can pick it up. This one works out at £30 a month for one of these. So £30 for one of these. You can get them in bulks of 3, which works out a little bit cheaper. So you can do that. With this and also the tablets, you'll have to take these and use this for the rest of your life. You stop doing it, then everything you've done with your hair will start to be reversed. So it is a lifetime commitment, which obviously over time it's going to add up, but it's worth it. With the Propecia, look up information on it. There are side effects. Now, if you're young, healthy, do exercises, the chances, touch wood, of getting any of those side effects are extremely rare. I've been on this for 9 months and I haven't experienced any of these side effects that supposedly come with Propecia. Like any drug, they're going to do clinical trials on thousands of people, and if something happens, it's always documented. So the chances of you experiencing any of those side effects are very rare, and they are reversible anyway. Just stop taking them. I would recommend, if you are thinking of having a kid, make sure you come off them probably for about 6 months, because obviously you're playing about with hormones and all this, that and the other. So I would come off it if you are going to have kids. Best way to get these, don't bother your doctor with them, just go to Boots. Some of the Boots do a hair restoring program sort of thing. I go to the one in Epsom. Not all the Boots do them, so just pop into your local branch and ask for information about it. They'll sit down with you, they'll ask all questions about your hair, how long you've been experiencing hair loss, just to make sure you're a good candidate to actually take these tablets. And then they'll document it, and then every time you run out of tablets, just go in there and you just pick them up behind the counter, so nice and easy. So it comes to the end of the video where I'm going to quickly talk about hair transplants, which is the next thing. There's obviously, you see all the famous people who have had hair transplants. Some are good, some are bad. The hair transplants over the years has massively changed. It's a lot better than what it used to be. And you'll see, for instance, Wayne Rooney, Wayne Rooney, God, I hate his name, who obviously had the hair transplant. You'll notice that it is quite thin, and I believe the reason for that is because he's probably not taking Propecia, because he's an athlete and there's probably some sort of reason behind it. He's probably not taking that. So you have to take something like this even after you have a hair transplant. Now, there's 2 ways of having a hair transplant, or the best ways. One is called FUT, and what they basically do is they cut a thin strip all the way from the back of your head. Remember how I was talking about how FUT doesn't actually affect the side of your hair? That is why. And they take the thin strip of donor hair and harvest it, basically, and put it under a microscope. Now, genetically, the back of your hair isn't programmed to fall out. And then what they do is they dissect the hair into individual follicles, into grafts, and then into individual follicles, and then they place each hair into where you need them. That's a cheaper option. And the only downside with that, if you're going to have short hair, especially if you're an actor as well and you don't know what sort of hair cuts you're going to have in the future, you will end up having a scar all the way along the back of your hair. So the next option which I would recommend, however it is a lot more expensive, is FUE. And what they do with FUE is they cut your hair into a little square, and they take individual hairs with this special pen, and it takes each individual micro follicle out of your hair, and then they harvest them, and then they just simply pop them in where they're needed. That's possibly the best option if you don't want to have a thin white scar, and as I said, it is more expensive and more time consuming as well. That's the one I would like to go for in the future. That pretty much covers everything in terms of what to take, what I take. Hopefully it's helped you. Any questions, just pop them in the comment box below and I will try and answer them. Bye. One more thing before I forget, if you do decide to go to somewhere to get a hair transplant, check if it's over, I believe, 1,000 hair follicles that you're having. Make sure they do it in 2 days. Because a lot of these companies, especially if you go abroad, they will say, oh, you need 2,000 hair follicles, and they'll do it all in 1 day. And when you do that, the hairs will die. You know, they'll put them all in, and then you'll lose a larger percent of hair follicles, which will fall out and die because they've been out of your hair for too long, and all the stress on your hair and everything. So make sure that if they're over 1,000 hair follicles, that they do it in 2 days. I think I wanted 1,800, and that, you know, you needed the 2 days to do that. So make sure you do that, because you'll see people who have had hair transplants and it's all been done in 1 day, and a large percentage of the hairs which they put in all died. So make sure you do that. Hope that helps.